If it's undercovered, underreported, or a waste of time, you can be sure we'll be heard. Nothing is off limits.
Welcome to Broad Street Radio.
Welcome to Broad Street Radio. I'm Michael Morris with my friend, the Beast Incarnate, Nathan Schoner. Nathan Schoner, how are you?
I'm good. I can totally take Brock Lesnar, by the way.
Listen, I would love to see you fight a person of his stature, especially since I think you'd be like, I can't fight you after lunch because I've got a tummy thing. Fair to say?
Well, I just
What's the best time that you would attack a 285-pound beast?
Like Brock?
Like anybody.
I would wait until they're fully hammered. That's drunk for people that don't get that reference.
For the people in Argentina, that means drinking. Yes?
Then I would go for the low blow, make the referee ring the bell, pin, 1, 2, 3.
Do you think there's referees in street fights? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm talking about
I'm talking about you
match.
challenging a human being
Brock Lesnar
out of pride
at WrestleMania.
like a real hunter.
That's what we're talking about.
No, I'm going to arrange this. Now, you're not going to know what's happening, but it's going to happen. I'm so glad that we started off with brutal, angry warrior type vibes because today, all we're going to do is talk about movies because you and I are cinephiles, which means we like, we like adults. When you put files on the end of anything, people start to get nervous or they start to get horny. Now, the movie I want to discuss first is The Northman. Have you seen that?
I have not. Looks good. Want to see it.
Okay, so I saw it. It is...
No spoilers.
I won't spoil it, but at the end, here's what happens. The Northman is based on Amith, I think I'm saying that right, which is essentially Hamlet. It is a story of Hamlet that was written way before for the Norse culture. Hamlet is based exactly on this. So if you've seen Hamlet, you would go, wait, I've seen this somewhere. It is fantastic. It is fantastic the way it's shot. You're not quite sure if some of the things you're watching are really happening to the character or whether they're just mythical. But I was thinking of you the whole time because I was shirtless. I was thinking of you because in your background, the technical aspects of this film would be right up your alley. The question is, this movie's not going to make its money back? So it was a $70 million budget, I believe. And it did like $30 million in its first weekend globally. So we
got a chance, depending on how long.
Well, for the studio to make money, you have to do 2.5 times what the budget is. Because that doesn't include marketing, right? So you put another, but they didn't market this thing.
No, that's what I'm saying. I didn't see too much marketing. I don't think they do spend the same amount on.
Correct. So let's call it 140.
Yes. I don't think that they did that though.
So do you have cable? I don't watch TV.
Yeah, we just got.
Okay, so I don't watch television. I have the streaming stuff, but
same here, streaming stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't even stream like 4, 6, 10. Sorry for you locally. It's channel 4, channel 6, channel 10. I know you get that part, but I can't stand anything that's on it anyway. So I'm watching like Cheers reruns when I'm not watching like a movie. So I didn't know if I never saw billboards for it. I never saw any of that.
Yeah, I saw a little bit, but it was nowhere near the P&A or the marketing. Outside of filmmaking, it's P&A, prints and ads, as other movies. So I don't think they spent 70.
I don't think they thought
if they spent 70 million on that movie. I'd be surprised. They must have spent 69.9 million in Los Angeles.
I was going to say that was just the budget for the film. I think they spent $9 to market it.
Maybe.
So, but so here's your problem. At the same time, so I saw it on opening night, and then The Bad Guys, which is an animated film, does 30.
Looks good too.
First of all, that movie's fantastic.
It looks really good.
But
my son really wants to see that.
Oh, it's totally worth it because it's kind of like every caper movie you ever saw, like every bank robbery movie. There's a touch of Pulp Fiction in it. Obviously, not certain parts of it, but when you're watching it, you can watch it with your kid, but you can be entertained. But those come out at the same time. On opening night,
Two different audiences, though.
Totally agree. But people, this is what I want to get to. Is animation a lazy way to make money?
No.
Okay. Because I think it takes longer to make those things,
Yes.
and it's not driven by star power. Because I don't care if Idris Elba is Knuckles in Sonic 2. That's not what's getting me to watch it, right? The content better be good. What I'm watching better be good for me to spend $15 a ticket now, right? So the Northman gets trounced by the bad guys, and then people go, oh, see, nobody wants to see that.
I hate that.
Which is incorrect, because then when you go to a Netflix or Hulu budget, or we'll leave Amazon Prime out for the minute, when you go to those budgets, it's not the same movie. It's not the same quality, right? Like, address the quality of movies in terms of like the background of it. Like, you really need a big budget to make a blockbuster.
Yeah, but I guess I just don't know where you're going with it, because the Netflixes, the Amazon, like, they put money behind.
Amazon is, but Hulu literally is like, hey, are you a student? Can you hold this camera? There's a lot of crap that Hulu puts out there. Netflix is putting money into their own stuff now.
Yeah.
But the leader in that's Amazon Prime. In terms of their budgets?
And I would say between Amazon and Netflix, because Netflix spends a ton and they've got a ton of different stuff. So I would say Netflix is probably, if they're not tied if they're not first by themselves, Amazon underneath, they're definitely neck and neck.
I think that Lord of the Rings. See, I don't know that. Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, I don't know those. I've only seen.
That's your own loss.
I'm just trying to give this explanation because I'm not criticizing because I don't know it. But what's the new one, Lord of the Rings, that's coming out? What's that called?
It's a prequel. I don't remember the name of it.
It is a prequel.
But yeah.
But they spent, I think it was like $30 million an episode for this.
Yeah, probably.
And they've got a 3 or 4 year arc that this is supposed to last. And before it's even come out, everyone's already shitting on it, saying this isn't like the source material. This isn't what we want. What does Amazon care? They're still getting your subscription every month. Yeah. No one's going to cancel because of that, right?
And then you also have to look at it as almost every type of IP, whether it's Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, Star Wars, there's always a group, no matter what it is, this is stupid, this sucks, this is not what was in the original movie or comic or whatever, book, and everything. So I always take that stuff with a grain of salt, because most of the time, not all the time do I disagree, but most of the time I disagree.
You disagree with the people that are hating on it?
Yes, because people just, and I'm even friends with, there's people that I personally know that hate everything.
Jeff Bezos. Wait, I hate everything. Not movies, I just hate people.
Well, that's true, but I'm not talking about you, because you don't hate movies. You hate people.
God, yes.
Except for me, which is weird.
I have like 3 people that I want to talk to.
And we have to talk off camera, but you need to stop calling me at 3 a.m. I'm trying to sleep.
Well, because you want to look at the pictures I'm sending on your phone at 1 a.m.
I know. But back to what I'm saying is, I think that the amount of money that they're putting into it, the amount of time that they're putting into it, the executives that they have on that show, I think it's going to be good. I don't like going into something with high expectations. I didn't with the Batman. I know
you did not go in with big expectations.
I did not go in with big expectations with the Batman. I went in just to see how it was. I saw a lot of the reviews and from people saying it was good, as well as a lot of people saying that they did not like it. Usually when I get to that, I just go in, I try not to think about it and just enjoy the movie. I know I'm a little bit different because I have that filmmaking background. So anytime I don't enjoy a movie from a
consumer standpoint,
like a consumer or a viewing standpoint, then I just start watching it as a filmmaker. Like, oh, they decided to shoot this scene this way. They're using this color scheme. They're editing it, pacing like this, and then tend to enjoy that aspect of it. So even movies that I didn't personally enjoy will not go back and watch. I usually enjoy that time because I can sit there and kind of pick the brain of the filmmaker, of the director of photography, of the editor in their choices. So I'm definitely not the person to ask in terms of.
Well, what I was going to say is you have more of a keen eye for what they're doing.
Yes.
What was the movie we were talking about where I said you won't believe how good it is? Oh, Death on the Nile was one.
Yes.
Where the color, if you're just a person that goes to the movies like once every 6 months or something, like I go every week, right? And have for almost 17 years. Okay. So before my daughter was even born, but we do that every Monday. I love movies and I love being in the movie theater and all. That's why I'm talking about the Netflix and Amazon thing is I want the whole experience. So if I can put it on at any certain point, it already kind of dulls the experience for me because I wouldn't want to me, it's like going to a concert or getting the CD. God, that was a really old reference. Getting it on iTunes, right? So my point is I want the experience of the whole thing. So when you have something that if you didn't watch all the Marvel movies in a movie theater and you just saw them at home, there's not that much difference in the Loki series, or I think the writing is much different, but the special effects and everything, they're there. But to see it on a huge screen makes it a big difference. And I think that we've gotten away from people realizing what a special thing is, that is what it's meant for. Mm-hmm. What was that? What's the Scorsese? It's based on the book, I Hear You Paint Houses, the Jimmy Hoffa movie. The guy, I forget. Anyway, that was boring as whale piss, and that was 4.5 hours long or whatever it was. The one with De Niro, Pacino. It's the something or whatever. Anyway, I was so hyped for that, and I would have gone to a movie theater and seen that. But again, I think if it's in a movie theater, like when you see Casino or Goodfellas and you saw that in a movie theater, that's something that sticks with you forever. I think when you watch it at home and then don't tell me what it is, just give me a hint. You know how much I hate when you give me the answer. Anyway, I think some of those things don't pan out. And it's hard to tell what people really think because when you're watching one of those and you're like, oh, it's Martin Scorsese. So all the critics are going to go, that's the greatest thing he's ever done. Greatest thing he's ever done. Because it's him. I think if you really had to put it in a movie theater and see if the audience wants to pay for it, that is a completely different thing. And that's why I feel bad for the Northman. Because they're taking a chance on a story that is 700 years old or whatever. And it's more of like a folk tale. Did you find it?
Looking.
Anyway, you're taking that story and you're putting big money behind it to tell it, and then because people didn't go, it doesn't mean it's a failure. You didn't tell them that it was there. But the bad guys, I saw commercials for that on YouTube and all these other places digitally. I knew when that was coming out. I definitely know when Doctor Strange is coming out because you go to the grocery store and it's all over a cereal box. And I think that's what's killing movies is people criticize Marvel or they criticize the animated stuff. If you don't advertise, you're not going to get any of this stuff to work. Are you still trying to find it?
Yeah, I can't find it.
See how good it is?
Anyway.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I give up.
But what I would like to see is that, I think studios are going to start putting these things direct to, usually if it was direct to video, you go, oh, that's bad. Now it's direct to Netflix or Paramount or whatever. But I'm always curious what your take is. It not on the box office or anything, but this to me is art.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
So if someone said, Nate, we want you to direct this thing and it's going to go on Roku and we're going to, you know what I mean? Is it a slap in the face or do you still make it because you care about the project?
Oh yeah, totally. You still make it. You care about the project. If you really care about it, then it's all about, from a filmmaking standpoint, you just want to get it out there. I mean, when you get to a certain level, like when you get to the Steven Spielberg level.
I thought you were going to say Steven Seagal, and I was going to yell at you like, what? Sorry,
when you get to the Steven Seagal level and you go
to
be
that
a
Jean-Claude Van Damme level.
Yes. No, when you get to like that level to where you can pretty much do anything you want and you'll be given hundreds of millions of dollars.
The Irishman.
Movies.
That's the name of it. Go ahead. Martin Scorsese movie. Sorry.
Wow, you couldn't just let it go.
I had to let you know. I had to let our listeners know.
I would have put it in post.
Yeah, but I didn't know. I needed people to know I knew it.
Okay.
Sorry. I was sharing with you.
Okay.
As I share most things. Let's call our wife and kids. So here, I have a different question. What do you think of Justin Lin dropping out of directing Fast and the Furious 10? Did you see that article?
Mm-hmm.
Because Vin Diesel's late, shows up out of shape, and doesn't know his lines. And then added Brie Larson as they're doing they're starting the movie, and it's like, and guess what? On Instagram, I'm gonna add her in. They're saying he could have lost $10 to $20 million by walking away, and he does not care. That's how pissed off. How pissed off do you have to be to walk away from that?
In terms of those articles, I take those with a grain of salt because not that there's no truth to that scenario.
To the Diesel part, you mean, or the money part?
Anything. The whole thing. The whole Justin Lin walking away could lose $20 million or whatever. Leaving. Obviously, he left. That part is definitely true. But there's a myriad of reasons why directors leave. A lot of it could be that creative thing, and Fast and the Furious is different than a lot of the other franchises because Fast and Furious is owned by Diesel. Like
right.
He was given that. That's why he went and made, the Pitch Black movies. The two sequels.
Which actually, Pitch Black it's Pitch Black, and then it's
Pitch Black, and then it's
whatever his name is, Riddick. Chronicles of Riddick,
and then Riddick.
Right.
He was given the right. He wanted the Fast and Furious franchise. So in that case, I mean, whoever is signed on to direct is going to have to, pretty much carte blanche whatever Diesel wants because that's his. It's not a studio that owns it. It's not.
Oh, you
Warner
think
Brothers.
that Diesel might have said we're not getting along, and then it's
either side. Even if Lin was like, "Hey, we're just going to leave. I want to drop out. I'm not agreeing with what Vin Diesel's wanting to do. It's not my vision anymore. It's changed." That happens frequently. Where that usually it's not right when they get ready to start filming. But usually in pre-production, there's so much behind the scenes that you don't really see unless you're in filmmaking or you're in the Hollywood ecosystem. Development of these takes months. Pre-production can take months depending on the scope and size. Really the Hollywood-y type, like E-entertainment focuses on the actor side. So production is really what you see. But unless you're really into filmmaking and movies, you're not going to see a lot of the business aspect of it. Something that I've heard that I really think is true, you'll get a kick at it. So I listened to Freddie Prinze Jr.'s wrestling podcast, and he says frequently, and he heard it from somebody, but I'm probably butchering it, but it goes something like, well, it's show business, and business is twice as big as show, as in the business aspect of show business is twice as important, which is true.
Mickey Dolenz actually says that a lot. From the Monkees, he said there's two parts. It's not show business, it's show and it's business. Yeah. And what people fail to do is take care of the business part because they get swept up and, this money's coming in, it's never going to end. And when it does end, you didn't save, you didn't plan.
Yeah. And then from the business aspect of doing, like, kind of wrapping up what I was saying is there's so much business aspect, especially when you get into the Hollywood ecosystem, not the independent films and stuff as much. It's kind of blended nowadays, but there's so much hierarchy with your producers, executives of the studios, et cetera, that all these deals have to be made. There's so many strings that have to be pulled for these things to be done well. So back to your original, like the Lynn situation, it could have been just as simple as, hey, I don't agree with the way you want to run it, but it is going to be Vin Diesel's show because he's the one that owns the IP. So
let me ask you this, because especially when you talk about owning an IP, Discovery comes in and buys Warner and all the other subsidiaries underneath it. So in the last 2 weeks, literally DC, there was, if you ever watched the cartoons, 70s, 80s, they announced a Wonder Twins movie they were going to make, and they already had their cast and all. It got announced, and a day later, it's axed. Through this new purchase, shows are disappearing left and right.
The thing with that is that that's not uncommon. And again, back to what I was talking about, that stuff happens all the time. You just don't really see, like, there's, unless it's high profile, it's not really written about, but it happens all the time where Studio A will put it into development and then shelve it or cancel it. They'll take it to Studio B, then whoever owned, like producer or whatever, will take it to Studio B or whatever. That can happen before it gets made. And then usually stuff like that, some of these movies that come out, you don't see that they've been in development for 5, 6, 10 years to even get to that point of getting to production. So that's not unheard of and not surprising.
See, I understand that part because you still own the IP, so you can still, as long as you own it, you can do whatever you want with it. You can shelve it, you can put it into, a slot 2-3 years from now. Yeah. My question off of that is, if I was underneath there and I'm a filmmaker or I'm a showrunner or whatever, I would be worried about the direction of a new company because they were operating on kind of unlimited budgets. And now the first thing that Discovery wants to do is trim all the fat, get rid of anything that doesn't make us money, number one. So it's going to be harder to go back to the Northman example. That can be a fantastic movie, and it is. But am I going to greenlight a Spider-Man 4, let's say, which I know I'm going to make at least $400-500 million on, regardless of if it's any good or not? It has nothing to do with Spider. Those are all fantastic, but I know I'm going to make money. Or do I take a chance and make Once Upon a Time in Hollywood that it better be good to make money? Mm-hmm. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think, to me, the perfect marriage is that you do have Doctor Strange, and then at the same time you have Death on the Nile. We're judging things, if they're any good, based on how much money they make. And that is not how you wouldn't look at paintings and say the same thing. Art is art, and they're supposed to be different. And
then from a business aspect to that as well, goes back to the same thing where deals are made. So it's usually like, hey, I really want to make Death on the Nile. Okay, go make Doctor Strange first, and then you can make that. Right. That happens all the time.
But I think we're going to lose that with more conglomeration. Again, with Discovery. I mean, Discovery now owns Warner, which owns Batman and Superman and all that other stuff, but they also own CNN and TBS. It's a weird thing when you have one person controlling too many things. It could be good, but I just hope that down the road our entertainment doesn't get spoon-fed to us through an app.
Well, if the movie WALL-E teaches us anything, we'll all be flying around hoverboards, 400 pounds, glued to our iPads.
I'm halfway there. I just need a hoverboard. All right, that's going to do it for this week. You've been listening to Broad Street Radio. Thank you very much.